thing now that the cab's off of the frame. This gives me an opportunity to kind of clean up some of the frame stuff that I left before. So before I had, you saw it, I didn't have any of the drive shaft loop cross member in. So I kind of fabbed up something over the holidays. So I'm not really sure where this is gonna fall, so it's still sitting loose. That all bolts together. I got a whole bag of bolts to bolt that thing together, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna bolt it to the cross member or if I should burn it in and make it all one piece. But I know I'm gonna clean up these welds, paint all this up, button all this area up so I can yeah, finish this off when the cab's gotta go back on. The one thing I did do, which I'm not really sure, you know, what people do, but I did leave a hole through the cross member to be able to plumb my fuel and brakes, and my transmission cooler I think I'm gonna mount in the back. The battery is gonna be mounted over there. So I have a bunch of stuff I have to run along the frame rails. I'd like to run on the inside. So I kind of left myself a tunnel on both sides to kind of be able to run that stuff down the inside of the frame rails. All right, so a little bit more progress in the shop here. I've been working on this cross member to get the transmission loop in, and after some advice from the Facebook group, they suggested to burn it in and leave the bolts as well. So here it is, all welded in. The ends are all capped. Capped the ends of the frame rails that I hadn't bothered to get to last time. So I started to disassemble the rear suspension. I need to paint that and kind of finalize it. So all this is going to get painted now. This is all painted up and done, reassembled. So all the bolts have been put in and tightened to SOB tight with some Loctite. Painted it all up with the Steelit. So the Steelit's great because for someone like me who's kind of doing this a little bit at a time, I can paint a little bit at a time and it all matches seamlessly. And if I have to go back, I can just weld right over it and away I go. So it's been a great product. I started to snake the plumbing back through for the fuel and for the transmission cooler. I got to rehang the cooler. I managed to get the lower links reassembled and back on, which was a bit of a nightmare, but I managed to do it. So it's got actually fresh grade 8 bolts and also tightened down. So that's all kind of buttoned up and ready to go. I just got to do the upper links now, but I need to finish welding on the truss and the upper links on the back. So I got some stuff to finish up in the back. But that'll wait. I think I'm going to button up the plumbing here, back in the holes that I drilled, and then I'm going to get the cab back on, because yeah, that'll be easier for me. Anyways, that's how this all turned out. So pretty happy with it. Well guys, back in the shop. This weekend I finally got enough time together to mount my fuel cell. So I managed to string 3 hours or so together in order to get this done, which is a miracle in my life. But you know, the truck's been built basically a half hour at a time. But this weekend with the nice weather, the wife went out in the gardens and I got some shop time. So this is what I did. I ended up having to hack the butt off the original frame. So the original frame basically sat about here, the end of it. So I welded in a new brace across, then I hacked out the support across, and I basically built this structure out of all the same frame material. It's 2x4, 3/16 wall structural tube, and then I just used some angle to support it around. So it's in. It is not very fun to take out. You have to do the wiggle, wiggle, wiggle in order to get it to go, but it's all in. So the plan now is to take it back out, paint it up, maybe put the grinder to it a little bit. And then I got this 3/8 rubber from a gym I put in the basement. I have a whole bunch of this left over, so I'm gonna basically cut this into strips and I'm gonna line the bottom here of the cell so it's not just banging on the bottom, and this will raise this up so it's not sitting on the bolts, because you're not supposed to support it by the bolts. So this is all measured out so that it will sit, and then I'm gonna basically create 2 straps that come along and bolt in using a piece of steel, and I think the same rubber underneath, just to keep it nice and isolated from, so it doesn't get shaking like crazy. Okay, just a quick video just to show you the fuel cell holder rack in the back. Cleaned up, painted, ready for the fuel cell now. Just got to add the rubber. I'm just waiting for the paint to set up, and then I'll add the strips of rubber on the bottom frame to support. Hey guys, back in the shop here. So been kind of spending my time working on the rear again. I kind of wanted to finish all the welding that was required back here and get this buttoned up and painted. Since I put the fuel cell in, I kind of felt like the rest of it should get finished. So I welded all the shock towers on, or I guess the coilover towers. So both sides are welded in. I finished welding the top links and I painted them. I mounted and fully welded the lower coilover brackets. Gave most of the axle a coat of paint for now. Now that it's all welded, I'm going to finish painting the axle and probably do a couple coats over the bottom just to make sure it's nice and done. I need to finish up the straps for the fuel cell, which they need a coat of paint as well. And then the rubber added. So the rubber will go in here underneath, and basically once it's bolted down, should secure the fuel cell. Just to finish up this video, I'm just going to show you, got this all painted up the axle and the coilover towers. They're all ready to go. I'm just gluing up the rubber onto the straps. So I think this is where I'm going to finish this video up. Just need to basically put the coilovers back in, but I'm waiting on some bolts because I had to cut the previous ones, because you gotta look where your bolts can come out. Make sure you have room before you weld your brackets in, which I didn't, so I had to cut them. So I've got a couple more coming through the Amazon. So that should finish up basically the fabrication and painting on the back of the chassis for now. I'm sure there's going to be more once I get moved into the bed and whatever, but I'm going to end the video with this. Lots of good progress on this stuff, buttoning up and filing sections of the vehicle now. So yeah, on to the next one, which I think is probably going to be the starting of the wiring on the motor. Before I put the cab back, there is a few things I want to do before I attempt to put the cab back on. It'll just be easier with it off.